At this time, it gives me great pleasure to invite Dr. Gabriel Leung, Executive Director, Charities and Community of the Hong Kong Jockey Club, to deliver our welcoming remarks. 首先咧，我哋有請香港賽馬會慈善及社區事務執行總監梁卓偉博士咧，為我哋致歡迎詞嘅 Dr. Leung。
Secretary Alice Mack, Mr. Andreas Schleicher, my very dear friend and advisory committee to the CLAP project, Ms. Diana Caesar. Honored guests, especially those of you who have flown in from overseas, ladies and gentlemen, but in particular, all of the young people in the audience. Good morning. First, before I say anything, this is a CLAP project, and you have to clap one more time, but this time, especially for the stronger of the two sexes. Today is International Women's Day. 300婦女節，我哋所有嘅女士，我哋為你喝彩。So this is a very important day, and we're extremely privileged to have our dear Secretary, the Home Affairs and Youth Affairs Minister, Ms. Alice Mack, with us. She has to officiate at probably literally dozens of Women's Day events today, yet she has chosen to begin her engagements with us. Now, CLAP is a very, very long-standing initiative of the Jockey Club Charities Trust. We have invested $1 billion Hong Kong dollars over the last decade in this project, and this project is going to come to fruition and a conclusion from our trust-initiated project slate in 2025. But that doesn't mean that the work is going to stop beyond next year. It is going to carry on because from the initial 2 phased grantees of 7 NGOs who specialize in youth services, and of course all of the heads of these NGOs are in the front here, it has now extended itself to almost 40 such NGOs, and they all tell me that they have regularized this now as part of their programs, and long may this continue. I'm not going to belabor the potential benefits of the CLAP program and the curricular and the extracurricular activities that you just witnessed. What I'm going to do is to perhaps reflect a little bit on 2 things. One is how the Jockey Club Charities Trust has initiated this project, and it's in a whole series of what we call tips. Everybody comes to the race course asking for tips. I'm probably not a very good tipster, but TIPS actually stands for Trust Initiated Projects. And CLAP is a shining example of one of 24 TIPS that are currently ongoing. And as you will know, we have, like many, many others, have invested a huge amount, not just of money, but energy. And in particular, I want to highlight the work of our volunteer advisory committee members, chaired and led by Ms. Diana Caesar. How often do you get a bank chief executive to really spend an inordinate amount of time and energy thinking about reflecting on reviewing, vetting, and leading the work of a major project like this? Money can't buy this kind of dedication, but our voting members of the club, of which Diana is one, are all steering the 24 TIPS that are currently ongoing. So a lot of people think that the Jockey Club Charities Trust has money. Yes, we do have resources, but that's only because of the way that revenue from wagering activities, from horse racing and football, are redirected 100% to the Charities Trust. And of course, that falls under the portfolio in the same bureau of the Home and Youth Affairs Bureau. And so it is very fitting that we have invited Alice here this morning to be with us. The second thing, let me just reflect on, is I don't know how many of you actually came in the right way without bypassing the 2 tunnels. So if you actually came in as you're supposed to have, you will have gone through 2 tunnels. One is in blue and the other is in orange. One of the tunnels basically says, okay, this is the traditional way, especially Chinese parents in Hong Kong think about success, think about transitions of a child into a young person, a teenager, and then graduating into a young adult who contributes to society. That tunnel says you have got to maximize on your school scores, your exam grades, and then you go into a great university program of a traditional university, you graduate and you get a really good high-paying job. And in fact, it even quotes a number. It quotes a number that is coincidentally the same threshold as the budget this year. If you actually achieve that number out there, you're going to have to pay 1% extra of tax on your salary. So I wouldn't recommend that. So that's maximizing, in the traditional parents' eyes, what success really means through a whole series of transitions. But there is another tunnel that actually emphasizes on thinking about optimizing what young people's aspirations and what they're inspired by, and therefore they aspire to do with their own lives. That you define success in many and myriad ways that society has now begun to embrace. That is, allow a diversity of choices and a diversity of what a fulfilling and a fulfilled life actually means. And this is what CLAP is all about. It is not to discount the more traditional academic success of what a successful young person means in the eyes of parents, teachers, and society at large. But it's to say, let's celebrate the different forms of success. And because this is, after all, an academic conference, so you get a lot of new thinking and a lot of interchange of ideas, let me share with you so we can exchange some ideas. And this idea came about 60, 70 years ago, which ended up with a Nobel Prize by a guy called Herb Simon. Herb Simon, he got his Nobel Prize for a very simple observation, which now seems intuitive. So he got the Nobel Prize for saying, look, if you observe consumer choice, most people don't maximize. Most people satisfy, i.e., when you're faced with choices in choosing a product or choosing a service or choosing a path in life, what CLAP is all about, most people don't go for the maximum. They go to what they think is good enough and that gives them satisfaction. And that's essentially what he got his Nobel for. There is a whole background of mathematics to demonstrate he's right, but that's really what I thought when I walked through those tunnels. There is the old way, assuming that everybody is homo economicus and everybody maximizes, the traditional way of thinking, and some really, really neoclassical economists would say that's the Pareto optimum. But Herb Simon said, no, actually, in reality, that's not how life is, and that's probably not how life should be. And so underlying all this song and dance are real academic theories and real science. And that, I think, is the mix you're going to find over the next 2 days here. And with that, just let me thank you thank all our overseas speakers, all our local experts, all our regional colleagues working with our NGOs so that we ground the science, the theory, and the social policy so that we create and co-create with the 371 young people who created today's program. It did not come from us, so-called adults. It came from 371 young people. They started it very well with that song and dance show, and they're going to make you very, very, very proud. Thanks again, and enjoy the next 2 days.
Thank you very much, Dr. Leung, for that wonderful welcome. Thank you.